One thing to keep in mind about negotiation in general, it's not always about getting just what you want, it's about getting what is right. A good negotiator has done their homework, meaning they use data and they understand what to expect on some level. A couple of ways for you as students to do your homework is to go out and do some research. Glassdoor is a great place to get information about people's experiences. There are industry publications where they list data about offers and benefits and salaries and the average raise, those types of things. Government, Department of Workforce Services. But I think one of the best places to get your information is through what's called an informational interview. Arm yourself with some data through those types of sites. It's important to understand your specific industry, not just your degree. Now, for example, computer scientists make anywhere from $30,000 to $130,000 right out of college. It really depends on the kind of company they're going towards, whether it's a startup or an established location, whether that big, large company is paying a national average versus a local average. There's a lot of things to take into consideration. So you need to find out about your specific industry and location. It's important to understand the benefits packages, or maybe they are promising things like stock options, tuition reimbursement for a master's program, or relocation expenses. Your total compensation is part of the offer, and it's important for you to understand what to expect. Cost of living, trends. Let's say there's a lot of people out of work and the companies can pick and choose. Well, you need to understand that it's possible that your offers won't be as high.
You can't ask for something if you don't have data.
How you behave in a negotiation, this is all about the relationship and understanding that, yeah, chances are you're going to negotiate with this person again in the future. One of the biggest, mistakes that a lot of people make is they jump into a salary discussion before it's time. You don't want to bring up salary in your first interview. Always let the employer make that first move. They may ask you questions about an expected salary range. And I think it's important to understand that I would say 90+% of those questions are not designed to see if they can lowball an offer. They're designed to see if your expectations meet what they can provide. Number two, about being flexible, is you need to understand your range. What's acceptable to you? Do you have a minimum threshold that you really can't go below? Understand your thresholds and be flexible as they make offers. Remember that not everything is about the cash. It is about total compensation. If you want to negotiate, give hard evidence, give real data and your source. Let somebody know where you got your information from. Like I said, it's important to talk to some people that work in that industry, possibly at that company, to get an idea. And then you'll know whether you're being treated fairly or not. I think you're going to be treated fairly most of the time, but you have to arm yourself in case you're not. When that offer comes, it's important for you, unless you know that it's exactly what you wanted and you're ready to go, then you can tell them, yes, that's fine. If you're not sure and you want to consider maybe another offer, or you want to mull it over for a while, it's okay to say, thank you, I appreciate this information and the offer. I want to think about it for a few days, and then I'll get back with you. Also, if you counter offer, let them have some time. End your negotiation on a positive note.
Negotiation can be a little intimidating for people. It is a skill that everyone can develop and everyone could work on. Be courageous enough to advocate for yourself. So practice and don't be afraid of it.
Don't get super personal about all the reasons that you need the money. It's just not professional. Don't interrupt people in the middle of a negotiation. Yeah, you may be disappointed as well in what transpires. We don't want to show that we're either, whoa, this was the best offer I've ever received, or way beyond my expectations, or this is super awful. It's about saying, okay, I'll take that information, I'll process it, and I'll give you my answer. Don't burn the bridge, I think, is the most important piece of this whole thing. So let's talk about sign-on bonuses. Most companies have a bit of cash. It's very common to have some cash sign-on bonuses saying, we can't change your salary, but we can give you a one-time $1,000 sign-on bonus. So, but sign-on bonuses can be anywhere from a few $100s to, I've seen them as high as $10,000 for PhD students with a real specialty. Start dates can be negotiated. Stock options, depending on the company, this could be something that you could go after. That's where, like I said, find out from some informational interviews whether this is something that could be on the table as well. Housing and relocation. If you're moving anywhere from 100 miles away and further, usually this is part of the offer. They'll say, we will provide a certain amount of money for you to relocate here. Well, talk to them. Maybe they can negotiate something else. Maybe they'll put you up in company housing or a hotel or something for a whole month while you're looking for a home if the market is tight. Maybe if it's a small firm and they don't offer this at all, maybe you can say, I'm coming from out of state, and the salary isn't quite what I was thinking, but what would you think about paying all of my moving expenses? First review dates, quite frequently, they are set to your first annual review is, like it says, annually. So, once a year. But if you really feel like, listen, I'm going to be able to prove to you that I am worth the next salary level, and I would love to negotiate a 6-month review instead of a 1-year review. Now, once again, this used to be very negotiable, and now it's not as much because it's becoming more normal as part of the offer, and that's tuition reimbursement for school. If they're small, they may not have a formal program for this, so you could negotiate it. Say, I really debated between graduate school and going in full time. I really feel like graduate studies would make me even more valuable. What would you think about a tuition reimbursement for graduate school while I'm working here? You can also negotiate. I've seen the eligibility date, especially if some students are in the process of applying for schools, or they may have just started some online graduate studies and they want to continue it, but they'd like to be reimbursed. So eligibility date for that is something you could probably negotiate. Let's see. We talked a little bit about this salary requirement. If it does come out, put it back in their court as best as you can by saying, I'm open to your best offer, whatever that is, or give them a range based on some real data that you've done. Always, sleep on your offer if you need to. Let them know that you want to take some time, but don't wait too long. It's okay to say, I'm currently interviewing with so-and-so. It's important not to be arrogant. It's okay to be confident. Don't burn your bridge. If you decline an offer, which wonderful, if you have the option to take something and decline another, be gracious. Tell them how much you've appreciated the process, and tell them the reason why you're going somewhere else, and that's okay. It's important to also cover your bases, and I always say you do that with asking for an official offer letter. And backing out of an offer after you've said yes can be really a bridge burner for sure. Okay, they call it reneging. It definitely tarnishes your reputation when you just say, oh, never mind, I decided to take a company, somebody else offered me something better. That kind of paints you in not the best light. And it also begins to paint the school with a reputation of, wow, the students from that specific program at that school seem to back out all the time. So if you've accepted an offer, stop looking. That you've got to do your homework. You've got to go out and find information and arm yourself with data in order to be a good negotiator. Data wins. Emotions don't.
Don't be afraid to ask.
Mm.
Practice negotiating on all kinds of things, where you're going to go to eat with your friend. I'll just get yourself as comfortable as you can with making asks, and you'll be a much better negotiator. And just know you're better at it than you realize because you've been doing it your whole life.